Hello and welcome to the Kundalini podcast. That was Zen. This is Tao. I'm Vivek Govekar. Namaste. This is episode 116. So I'm making 115 and 116, both those episodes, back to back. I have just taped 115, and that's why I knew I was going to tape this one next. So I put a part 1 on that. Because this is an interesting topic and I have to give details, especially to people who awaken and have a spontaneous awakening, and what are the essentials? What do I need to know if I start having awakening symptoms? And I would be remiss if I did not mention that protection is the most important thing, and which is why I thought I'd make an updated episode about a subject I had previously talked about regarding black magic. So continuing from that last episode where I have talked about, and you can go watch it again, I have talked about the things you can do in an encounter with a person where you feel bad vibes and some negative energy coming at you. And for that, you need training, mindfulness, meditation, witnessing. You need to train on a daily basis or a regular basis before you can implement it when you have that chance encounter. It's like any other martial art. And the 3 methods I said were, look above their head, do cord cutting, say cut, 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 remove that aura and its connection to your aura. Have that intent. It's the intent circuit that you're activating of not wanting any energy from that person. That helps. It's your intent that is channeling your thoughts into the next reality that you create. Always remember that. And that has to be put in motion sometimes. Activated. There is no other choice. You have to make that conscious decision to activate those forces and that circuit. So you have activated the intent of not accepting any negative energy or any energy from that person, and that they do not influence you at all, given that instruction to your mind. Taken yourself out of that situation. Done Kavach mantras or alternate nostril breathing to remove those thoughts, not letting them penetrate, and observe the reaction post-encounter. And chant mantras to go back to a resonant vibration that is harmonious to your psyche. But it's essential. I also touched upon briefly in the last episode. I said, you may not believe all of this, and neither did I when I did not have a Kundalini awakening. I was a scientist by training. But after having an awakening and going through a confusing set of things, before you learn what they are, by trial and error, just stumbling upon them, going for months, sometimes years, suffering because you didn't know the right method. And these could have been easy things that, if I had just known that on the first day of my awakening, I would have done these things. That's the things I'm mentioning in the last episode and this one. So obviously, I can't do it justice in just one episode. I have to add some more things today, in the next episode. So having said all of these things, how to protect yourself, how to remove yourself from that situation, and to do Devi Kavach mantras. Like I said, it's like the series and movies of Star Trek, where you have a ship going through space and there are shields on it, invisible to us. But as soon as someone fires those laser weapons, phaser weapons, some kind of energy pulse at the ship, those shields get damaged. So an encounter like that is negative is your shield's damaged. You have to assess the damage of whether it's 30% or 60%. And the immediate rescue mechanism is to chant mantras, do the breathing exercises. But then the greater topic is, this is just the self-defense aspect of a Kundalini awakening and negative forces coming at you and how to counter them. Then I got to thinking about what else is it that I have not mentioned so far. I've made over 100 videos. This is my 116th one. And yet I haven't mentioned this and given it the right emphasis. Maybe in passing I've said these things, but haven't given it the right emphasis. So black magic, and that episode was very clear in my memory. I started with that. And as I was taping that episode, I realized that more needs to be added. So that was the self-defense part of it. To Devi Kavach and other Kavach mantras, armor mantras, have them playing in the background, make it a habit. Alternate nostril breathing, Alunulom Vilom or Nadi Shuddhi. Do those regularly. They help to remove stagnant thought patterns and negative thought chains. Observe your thoughts. Have clear intent of not accepting negative thoughts. That works. Because I have said this in a past episode, your thoughts are just thoughts. They become reality when you add an emotion of fear. You repeat that thought. You create a visualization that is negative and brings bad mental images that then germinate in your mind. Now you act on them. It's a very slow and small, incremental process in small increments that makes a bigger difference to your mind and to your psyche. Now, if I told you that you could have nipped that in the bud and taken that away as an effect on you, on your psyche, right at the beginning, you'd be like, oh, tell me the method. So that's this method that I told you about. But it gets strengthened. See how many steps are involved? First, knowing that there is a witness. Then that witnessing that is happening. Then knowing, oh, these are negative thoughts. Oh, this is what I have to do. This cascade has to be begun. This sequence has to be initiated of my actions. And I won't have the worst effects of these negative thoughts on my psyche. So easy. So that's what I'm giving. But the strengthening part is necessary. So at the level that I do it, because I'm mostly in meditation, in samadhi, witnessing things and the mindfulness aspects and witnessing my thoughts is like second nature. It has been happening for so long, which is why I emphasize that this will only come with practice. Once you've taken care of that situation, assessed your shield level and replenished it with mantras, there is one more episode added to your data bank, and okay, this is a better way to deal with it, learn about it. What went wrong? What happened there? And how did I lose control of my own emotions? For me, my emotions are under control because I'm constantly witnessing. It's the rise of emotions as well. And now that is separated from thoughts that I've gained from, let's say, watching TV or from a newspaper. So that thought, this emotion. If you can separate those two along with the knowledge that yes, this can be bypassed. That's not me. Let me remove these. And how do I bring about that change? To both remove those thoughts and quell those emotions, as well as put something better that actually takes care of it, writing it down. If there is something to be acted upon, make a plan. Act according to the plan. Break it into different pieces and do that. And by doing it, you have less to worry about. So functionally you have done something, practically you have done something, and now that thought doesn't bother you as much. The emotion doesn't arise, which is tinged with fear and gets worse every day because of these thoughts mixing together. You have taken some action. So in the same way, some other things that people need to know and why they need to be done for every single person with an awakening. One of them is shielding. And I've just given you the methods and why that is necessary. And you become extra sensitive in the initial stages and you need it. And you're bewildered, confused, don't know what's going on. Later on, like where I'm standing right now, 15 years, 16 years into the awakening, this is why. Now, this is all second nature, but about 8 years ago, I learned something for the first time. And that's why I'm even here in the first place and have survived. And these are those things. First is your breathing decides what thought accumulate in your mind. Isn't it awesome? And just by changing breathing patterns, emptying your stomach completely, complete exhale with your mouth, where your stomach is like drawn in, and then inhaling with your belly breathing, and filling up your stomach. Do that for like 10 breaths. Then do the alternate nostril breathing sequence after that. Lo and behold, about 5-10 breaths later in both formats, and now those thoughts are gone. Now just a memory of those thoughts remains. Then emotion through other things. I have mentioned listening to mantras and guided meditations. There is something called gamma and alpha brain waves. They're available on YouTube and other places. Listening to that calms the mind at a very, very deep level. Listening to Tibetan bowls calms the mind. Stilling of the mind, inculcating a habit of witnessing, knowing that your thoughts are under your control or can be under your control, and that your emotions can be under your control by witnessing and applying the right methods. You can be in a better state and come back on an upward spiral from whatever moment you have felt some lack, some impurity in thought. You can, with your own efforts, remove those thoughts and install better thoughts in a matter of minutes. Isn't that amazing? And because you can do it and know when to do it, let's say 4 times a day, those things were already happening. You didn't know why you were miserable. Now you have identified them, taken some action, and now 4 times a day you have set a reset so that you are as good as new as you began at the beginning of the day and not bogged down by these 4 fears and their multiplications of feelings and thoughts in your mind, creating a whole different storyline, which doesn't need to be there. But you cannot stop the repetitive thinking or attaching of your emotions. Well, now you can. And knowing that you have that power from every moment to rise up again, and knowing that 4 times a day I prevented thoughts from accumulating, and I'm clear as the beginning of this day, and I'm going into the next day in this state through my own actions, by opening up an intent circuit, closing the other person's input being absorbed in your mind, taking preventative action through breathing techniques and mantras, and knowing what you did. And at the end of the day, through your usual routine, you'll learn more facets and aspects of it. You can witness those and make that part of your feedback for your next encounter or next day that you have now, learned something more and become stronger. This is necessary during a Kundalini awakening. The knowledge of what comes in, how it came into your psyche, and the knowledge of how to remove that from your psyche. Extremely essential. Now, will that by itself guarantee a sound awakening? No, but this helps on a very large scale. This is very important. The heavy lifting stuff, that is, eventually that becomes a pattern of your daily routine as second nature. You don't even remember that you were doing it, or at some point you weren't doing it and now you're doing this as a habit. So there I have to take a pause and think about these things from where I was in the past and then make these videos. And it's a helpful anchor for me to have my previous videos from the other channel. So one of the episodes was about black magic. The other one was about energy vampires. Then I have spoken about affirmations and alternate nostril breathing. But today I combine all of those episodes and give you the gist of what happens when you use them as techniques constantly. Like I said, 4 or 5 times a day, things don't penetrate that would have even when I was making my previous series of videos. Even this person is much better adjusted with the awakening and how to deal with the outside world with an awakening than the previous person. Someone commented on that in the comment section saying, hey, it shows that there has been a change in your consciousness. I'm like, thank you. And this is how. Constant effort, practice, and I have to do this because of the awakening, but other people without an awakening can still benefit from this. Just pure mindfulness and putting the practice in. Just the knowledge that it's a circuit that you can open and prevent energy from being absorbed in your mind. That itself will be a revelation for some people. But yes, you can do that successfully with more practice. I hope you found all of this helpful. This has been a very interesting topic for me to talk about. Peace, love, blessings.